Okay, so continuing on, let's go in here. Now you don't want to get too close to the model. That's another thing, is, you know, stay backed off a little bit from it. Something like that. So spread out just a little, and I'm trying to establish this wireframe in this area to be kind of a triangle. And I'm getting a little stylized here with the whole cheekbones. You know, I like it. I'm just going to keep it, but you can easily stylize a skull. Just don't get nuts with it. And you could get a sad skull or a happy skull or a evil skull. just a slight little bone movement there. But for this assignment, stay with realistic, pseudo-realistic. Shift D. Okay, so I'm adding another level there, and you can see that I got some pretty good harsh, you know, cheekbones, and I get in these nice little folds in here already. And then the next level, it kind of goes, ugh. So I got hold shift and smooth that stuff out. Alright, now I'll use that wax tool again to start maybe going like this. I made that made that look pretty easy, but what I did is, you know, I went over the top of it once and then smoothed down. It's kind of hard to explain. You're just gonna have to, you know, work it. Watching speed videos on sculpting is much like me telling you where to move the pencil. You never learn too much about that that way. It's more about practice and the tools that I use, what kind of pencil I'm using to reach the different shading levels. So please, you know, just know that it's all about the tools. It's all about the tools. So right now I'm using the wax tool, and I'm adding subdivisions. And I'm getting pretty high in subdivisions, but I can always go down. So now, you know, I got a pretty good form, and I can feel that this is really slow for me to sculpt on. So rather than sculpt at that level, I would much rather sculpt at this level, and it's a lot faster for me. Okay, so now I'm kind of establishing some higher details and some forms here. The way these kind of interact with each other. And I love this wax tool. It really allows me to be a little bit more creative. Just gotta be very careful, because you can keep adding this stuff and then not switch views, and you get too much going on. So if you do that, a good method I've always used is grab and lower it. So lower it, go like that, and then go back up. So see how much better that looks? Yeah. So add, lower, move, and then repeat. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of looking at little like details here. And I can use control a little bit here. You know, just if I get too nuts, I can cut back. Be careful about throwing stuff on other forms or back. And hold shift every once in a while to kind of smooth out anything that's a little harsh. So this is, it needs a little bit more build up in this area. Again, if I build up in this area at this level, it might not look all that good. So I'll build up at this level if it's a really harsh change. Hold shift. Then go back up. Cool. Now, you could always build up at a higher level, but then you're going to be using another tool that I'm going to show you. That's my second favorite tool, but I can't use it just yet because I don't have enough goo. Once I get enough goo down here, I can start playing around with that tool. So here's maybe enough goo for this area. I'll use the scrape tool, and what I do here is I start establishing planes. So this is where you can really get creative. If you're not going for realistic, you can get some really cool alienistic things going on. So I want to start blending these a little bit more, and I want to start establishing these as bone rather than balloon, so you can quickly see how this tool will even out all that stuff. It just takes down the form. And another thing is that I would turn down the strength of this tool if you're new to it, because you can quickly get out of hand with it. And always change. Always kind of be looking at the other side views. Now that you've sculpted some, you'll realize that, you know, like, other angles don't look so good. Okay? So you always have to kind of like go back down and reestablish your original base. The original size, the original shape. And again, I use grab for that, and I just kind of tuck that in. Much better. Go back up slowly, keep adjusting. The human skull is incredibly tough to do as the first time. It's pretty hard to do in public too. Like, you know, it's still one of those things that, yeah, I sculpted in front of people a lot. But you're always at the mercy of, you know what that looks like. You know what I mean? You have precognition about, hey, this is exactly what it looks like. This is what it needs to look like. If it's 1 decimeter off from the original, it looks weird. So that's the one thing bad about sculpting a skull. And drawing a skull and sculpting a skull are two very different things. The landmarks help, but until you start rotating around, you'll realize that it is two different things altogether. I will say, doing this enough, you will gain a lot of skill in the drawing area. If you keep doing sculpts over and over again in 3D land, you'll find that 2D land becomes a lot easier for you to do. Okay, so now I could start messing around with the side view a little bit more than I was. And again, I'm looking right down in the center of this. And I'll go back to the wax tool because I see a couple things I can kind of snarf out of here. So some harsher changes. So normally this would be hollow down here, but because this is a sculpt and it's a solid block, yeah, you won't be able to establish that, and I don't want you to try. I want you to try to, gain as much as you can out of a cube. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of blend this form together with that form. And kind of narrow this down and build it back up. So straightening this out. This is all taken out of the original. So like starting right here, this is practically gone. Now, could I do that? Yes, but I would have to do it lower level. And if I do it, I have to kind of hold smooth, hold shift. So I don't want too much damage here, or the retopologizing tools do not work right well. Just a note. So I can't go hollow, but I can go pretty close. Again, this is all gone. In this area, I'll just kind of fake it being gone and kind of push it back. Hold shift. Okay, so I want to split this video up a little bit. I'll meet you back in the next video where I start using some more tools. Pretty much going to have to keep doing this over and over again until I get the original form before I can add any more detail or use any new tools. So you might see the next video is just about the same, just kind of adding, subtracting until I get that overall form. See you there.